Hello everyone, I am Bradley Sward, Associate Professor of Computer and Information Science at the College of DuPage in Glen Ellen, Illinois. And this video is going to use GameMaker Studio version 2.3. We're going to be using GameMaker language, and we're going to be making a Frogger game. So you may have seen other videos that I've made and I have up here on YouTube. But this one's going to go a little deeper, and it's going to use code instead of the drag and drop elements. So this is exactly the same introduction, I guess, if you want to think of it, as the previous videos. I am making a Frogger game. You can look up Frogger if that's something that you know nothing about. But I was just on the Apple Store the other day, and they're still making games that are Frogger. Frogger this, Frogger that. And it's been 40 or so years. I think this game is out, been 40-year anniversary this year in 2020. And so we have a frog. He's going to start at the bottom of the screen, going across. These cars somehow don't collide into each other, even though they're all going zigzag everywhere. Try to get across the cars. There's going to be a snake that's running across here. And then I'm just going to put logs everywhere. And then in this version of the game, we're actually going to put lily pads out, or not, whatever you want to think about it here. We're going to have little zones for the frog to go, rather than just deciding, oh, you can go wherever you want. We're going to up our game a little bit here, literally and figuratively. So that's the idea of where we're going with this. And so pretty much we're ready to go. I have sprites I'm going to use just like before. I have updated them a little bit. I'll show you them here. They're a little bit different than the sprites that I've used in the previous video. Okay, so I have GameMaker version 2.3 started up over here. I have nothing going for me, and again, I do have some sprites. I'm going to import them now. Everything I'm going to use has a height of 50, and you'll see that as we go, and that means every row of the game, because if you go back to the PowerPoint here, every row needs to be basically the same size. Maybe not this layer here. Maybe we can fix this up in a little bit, but we need everything else to be 50 pixels so that the frog or on any of the characters not get stuck between different rows and be 2 rows at a time. So with that said, let me start pounding these things in. And so let's get the easy ones. I just have to go in and import, and I go, okay, these are the 2 hard ones because these are animations. And again, notice these are all 50 by 50. Here's my tile set, 50 by 50 tile set. Oh, I wish it would bring the name in when I do this, but I'll just call it background tile set. And we'll talk about this. We'll have to change this up a little bit in a little bit, but let's just keep on going here. Let's go import a sprite. I'll need to import the car. That goes to the right. I'll call it car right. Oh, and again, we'll fix everything up because we need a car left. And again, don't get on me about the shadows. So we got car right. I've got myself, oops, not south. That. Right. And I've got myself my, oops, whatever. Okay, got my log sprite. And I might fix this up. The colors are going to look a little weird because I did upscale this from 32 pixels to 50. And I thought I got rid of all the junky colors, but I guess I didn't get rid of all of it. But that's okay for now. And so the hard ones are going to be the 2 for the snake and the penguin frog itself. I'm going to use a penguin instead of the frog. So this one I need to actually go and edit the image, go image, import strip image, and then I go, okay, here's my Penger sprite, and I go, oh my goodness, what do I need? I know there's 12 images in this thing, so 12 per row, and I know this thing is, because I upscaled it myself, 41 wide by 50 high, and there you go. And you can see that every one of these is a legitimate square. I convert, and now you can see, there's my guy, there's my penguin. I can run this to see, there he looks decent. You know, like the upscaling, especially when it's not, powers of 2 or anything like that. Sometimes the aliasing can get a little bad on you, but it worked out pretty well for this character. And so I'm going to call him Penger Sprite. And we're going to fix this up. We need 4 animations for him, but again, this is just the initial stages here. And so the final one is the same deal. I need to do this with the... And I know that the snake is 4 images. And I know that the snake is 89 by 50. And find whatever you want. If you just want to use, just placeholder sprites for this, if you're following along, you don't have to have anything special like I have. And so my background tile sets, each tile is going to be 50 by 50. The car is going to be 50. Again, for these things, the height is really all that matters. The width doesn't matter so much because the width could be whatever you want it to be, but the height has to match one row per character we were discussing. So there's my snake. It's animating. She's animating. It's animating. And so we got all the sprites that we need. So from the tile set standpoint, to start putting these things into the room, like I said, we'll start with a tile set. And I said, create my tile set. And I'll call it background tile. I guess we could just say background sprite. I mean, it doesn't much matter. But remember, again, you have to have a unique identifying name for each resource in your game or in your asset browser here. So my background tile set is going to use that background image. And now all this craziness, I want to make sure that the width and the height are 50 by 50, because you can see the squares. But again, one of those newer things that's come up in the newer versions of GameMaker is that the first square has to be empty. So I do have to go in here and just go into this and just say resize the canvas and just say make this 250 and apply and say yes. And now there's an empty square there that it wasn't there before, but I need that to properly use my tile set. Now you see each of my 4 textures are in a white square, and then the blank is left aside for an empty square. That's our first step of getting the background tile set working properly. I don't know what the border X border Y means necessarily, but everything seems to be working here, so I'm not going to touch it. And so now coming back, we need to take the penguin and we need to break this up into 4 separate sprites. So I'm just going to duplicate this guy. Oops, I thought I was going to duplicate. There we go, duplicate. So I got penguin up, penguin down. Duplicate again, or up, down, left, and right. And then I'm just going to go ahead and go in here and eliminate all the sprites that aren't part of the image. So the down sprite, the first 3 images, I'm just going to go in here and delete everything that is not the down. There we go. He's got 3 images per. There he goes, doing the chicken dance in the wedding. There we go. So there's my down. And so, oops, let me get that. See, not as. There we go. So then we get rid of everything that isn't left facing. Oops, this happens a lot where it's go too fast and GameMaker just thinks you want to edit the image for some reason. There we go. Make sure it's working. There's my 3 images to the left. Work on my 3 images to the right. Again. Oops, oh, never mind. I thought I went too far. There we go. And there's my 3 images to the right. And now my 3 images up. Doing it again. Go. And his little butt. There's his little tushy. Okay, so let me stop all these guys from, so that it's not an eyesore later on. And then the snake, we don't have to worry about the snake because the snake is only doing one thing. It doesn't go up, down, left, or right, or it just goes left. Okay, so we've got that going for us. So now we're ready to put all these things into the room. Okay, so I'm going to call my room gameplay room. I'm going to change my resolution to 780p, which is 1280 by 720. I'm going to change my grid to 50 by 50 squares. I hope you realize why at this point, because mostly everything is supposed to be 50 by 50 squares. Oh, but the only thing is that this kind of throws everything off. There's this little bottom row here, right? You see this? So we'd like to start the game at the bottom, and if anything, we'd like to have things at the top. So let's just tinker with this a little bit. It's not going to be perfect because 40 by 40 would be much more perfect, and I probably could have done things that way. But I tried to find something that was the closest match to the 720p resolution, and I figured 50 was a better choice than 51 pixels per row. Okay, so what we need to do is to set the background tiles. We'll actually need to set a layer. Create new tile layer. And we can say there's my tile layer, tiles. And so making sure we put that between, I believe. We'll see. The order of this will matter, but we'll figure it out as we go. For right now, it doesn't matter. So I say, okay, I want to add a tile layer. Here we go. I want to take this tile set, which is my background tile set, and I want to start tinkering. And so what I want to do is I want to put, for now, I want to leave one layer for the top for all the score and the lives and everything else. And I'm going to put grass for the winning. And we're going to change this up in a little bit, but not right this moment. 5 layers for water. And then one for, wrong one. 1 layer for the snake layer, 5 for the cars, and then 1 for this. So let's get this filled in, and then we can talk about how to do this stuff here. Get the water going. And I'm holding down Alt, or I'm sorry, I'm holding down Shift, so that I can overload. I don't have to click, 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 get carpal tunnel by doing it. Okay, looking so bad. There. And whoops, what that just happened. All right, there we go. We'll fix everything up in a little bit. We're going to shift everything down, but we're going to wait till we have everything in place before we worry about this. Okay, so then I believe, how would I go ahead? Oops, how do you do that? There's got to be a way we can shift everything down, right? So we'll figure it out when we get there. And so that is what I want to do. If I run my game, I should be able to see that, right? Here's what my game looks like minus the little grid settings in there. It looks pretty good. And so now we're ready to think about adding our objects. And we only have sprites for them right now. So let's go ahead and look into that. We got a lot going on here. Oh yes, the car. Forgot about the car. I'll have to duplicate the car so that I have a car left sprite. Sorry about that one. And then all you do is you go into the left sprite, you edit it, and then you do a mirror. And there you go. And again, notice the shadows are all wrong. I don't need to hear all of it. I know I'm the first one to I'm the first one to nitpick when it comes to that. But for the sake of just getting a game going, I just want to flip the car around. That's all I want to do. I'll tell my artist to get on changing it so that the shadow is correct. Okay, so I've got my car left, car right. The log doesn't have to be modified because a log is a log is a log. And there's no left or right or whatever. If you want to have different logs, you could set up different sprites and all sorts of crazy stuff. But everything else is now truly ready to go. So I want to have my objects. I'm going to set up my frog or penguin or whatever I always call him Penger. And so I'm going to use the penguin down sprite. And then I'm going to set up the cars for left and right. And because of this, let's see, how are we going to work this? For cars, I'm going to set up 2 different objects. Create object, car left, car right. Because they have different behaviors. Even though their speeds, they're going different speeds in different directions. So it makes sense to make them different objects. If you don't agree, then don't do it. Don't do it that way. But for this example, it makes sense, and it's simple enough. If we wanted to change up the object hierarchy later on, we can go ahead and do that. So I've got my car left, I've got my car right, I've got my penguin. Now I need my snake object. Oh no, what button did I just hit? F12. Hey, I just learned that. That's actually kind of cool. If you need more room for things, right? Like all the times when I'm trying to teach with drag and drop, I'm like, F12 is going to be great for my future. That was just a serendipitous moment there. Okay, so I've got my snake sprite. I've got my water coming. Oh, not my water, my log coming up. And I'm going to call it log left. And we're going to need to fix up parenting and stuff like that later on, but let's not worry about it just yet. Object log right. And they both use the same sprite. And let's see. And I used my background, got my cars, got my log, got my penguin, got my this. Yep, I think we're good for objects. We can go back into our scene here and try to set everything up. Assets. Let's see. I got to make sure I'm in my instance layer. And this is where you'll see if you have it working right. Because if you have the tile layer behind the instance layer, or in front, I guess if you want to think about it, all our objects are there, but all the instances are being drawn behind it. Because the background is drawn first, then the instances, then the tiles. Because the background should be the background and everything should come after it. So the tiles should come in between, so that you have your pure background, which is nothing, just basically just something so that the game doesn't act weird. You should always keep that background layer there. Then use your tile layer, then use your instance. Okay, so I've got my cars. Let me see about this. I got to remember when it comes to the actual game, the logs that go to the right are on the top. And then every other row from there. And then the left facing of the left moving logs. And right now, just make it easy on yourself. This is not where the challenge of the game comes from. This right now is just getting it working, and later on the designers will come in and work on that. So let's see. I believe we can see from the game here that the cars go to the left on the top row in our game. And then every other row. How do they not collide into each other? Nobody has probably a clue, since that's kind of crazy to me that they're just back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. But now we have a little something going here. I can move this guy over probably a little bit too. And so now, I didn't put the penguin in, but everything else should be good to go. Oh, it's interesting that the colors on my two monitors could not be any more different. I do have to fix that up. Interesting. Anyway, so my left monitor is better than my right monitor. Okay, so then I'm going to put the penguin, I'm going to try to put him in the middle just to get this thing working. Let's see, if I make the X setting 640, I'd say I'm pretty close there. And if I just hit Control, is there a way to do it for up and, whatever. I don't know. And so even if I double click on him and go, what is his settings? His X setting should probably be 6. Well, the Y is 650, which is good. It's on a 50 boundary, and then the X maybe 620. There we go. I mean, it doesn't much matter. It's just because he's 41 by 50, it's not going to be perfect. Or maybe it will be perfect, but I think we're good there. And right now, if I run the game, you'll see. There we go. Our snake is moving fast. Our penguin is moving fast, but nothing else is moving. But at least we have our objects in the scene, and we're kind of ready to get started. And we're going to, say get the penguin moving first, because that's the hardest of everything. Because everything else should be pretty simple when it comes to, because this is just movement with a wraparound for everything pretty much. And then collision events, and just keep going from there. And then the winning condition is going to be a little challenging, because it's something I haven't necessarily done in a long time, especially for a Frogger game. All right, so let's keep on going. Okay, so the first thought is to get our penguin moving around. And when you run the game, say when you were seeing a minute ago, he was running in place. We probably don't want that. Or maybe you do, like you're a jogger waiting for the light to change. But just for this, I'm just gonna say, okay, let's give him a break. He's under enough stress and pressure as it is right now. So I'm just gonna say, set his image speed to 0 on create. And maybe we'll fix up other things as well. But we're good there. So then when it comes down to it, we need to worry about the movement keys. And we're going to put everything in a step event this time. Since we're code writers, we're not going to put them in events, because again, the event system is great up to a point, but when you don't know the specific order, like does press of A come before press of B and up and down, like I want control over this rather than the GameMaker side. I say, like, I wish there was a way to kind of decide that, which events at the same level occur before others. But you know what? Hey, maybe they'll do that in the future, or maybe they just think I'm crazy, or maybe it's a little bit of each there. So in a step event, all I want to do here, and so for this one, there's no real collision events. I'm not collision events. There's no real move contact solids. I know I'm a big fan of that, but for this game, there's really no need. We can just use speed and move around, and when collisions happen, we deal with them. So in games where there's walls and things like that, where we want to make sure that characters don't get stuck in them and we want to make sure that they get pushed up against the wall, yeah, that's great and everything. But for this game, we don't necessarily have to care. So what I want to do, I'm just going to use the up arrow key. I'm going to say if keyboard check, and then I'm going to use VK up. And then I'll just say equals true, equals equals. Remember, double equals. Single equals is to set one value equal to another, and double equals is to compare one value to another. So if this function comes back true, then this will be equal, and then I will run whatever's inside of the code block. And all I want to do here is just say y minus equals, let's see, what can I, 5. You want to make sure that you use something, at least if you're following along with me to the T here, something that's a multiple of 50. Because remember, 50 pixels is one row. So I want to make sure when this character gets to the top that, or like through one movement, one animation, that the thing goes ahead and sets that up. So what I want to also do here is to, maybe not, hold on, let me see. V speed, not y equals, V speed equals -5. The vertical speed of our object is negative, so it's going up 5 pixels. I'm going to set an alarm, and I'm going to set it equal to 10. 10 times 5. Just take the magnitude. Don't worry about the negativity of it. 10 times 5 is 50. So when this alarm goes off, the character will have moved 50 pixels. And then also set the, got to remember the sprite index. Sprite index equals hanger up sprite. And then the image speed is going to be set to, I'll use 0.2. You'll have to find that value that you like. And so right now, without the alarm being set, right now you see he's standing in place, he's all happy. I press up, and there he goes off to infinity. Maybe something a little bit faster, 0.15, I don't know, whatever. No big deal. But he goes off to infinity, and we do need to use the alarm event to make this work. I can't get around that necessarily. But what I definitely want to do is just say image speed equals 0, right? We want to stop him. And then we want to say that the image speed is 0 and speed is 0. So what does that do for us? He goes up 1. But notice how it's a little wonky, right? He's ending up between rows. And the reason for that is very simple. This step event is going every single game frame. Every single game frame. And so it's resetting the alarm. Every game frame I'm holding down the up arrow key. So unless you really are really good and go as fast as you can tap, there's going to be 2 or more frames where that key is going to be down and it's going to reset and the character is going to get stuck between frames. And so the way around this is just to add an extra check and just say if the alarm is less than 0, then do this. Because when you set an alarm, I'm going to set it to 10. It's going to go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the alarm is triggered at 0, but then the alarm is reset to -1. That means that the alarm has gone off and it's been resolved. So only when I hold that down and like I'm pressing the key down and the alarm is off will I go up, up, up. Notice I hit it twice fast, and notice I'm never going to get stuck. You could try it. I'm never going to get stuck between rows. And that's what we're going for. And he animates. His little butt moves around, right? He's cute. Character animates as he's going. It's hard to see. But while I'm holding it down, no matter how hard I hold it down, the character will never get stuck between rows, and it will animate the entire time it's doing it. Just try it one more time. See his little butt, little butt, little butt, little butt, and then anytime I stop, he'll be wherever he needs to go. So that's how you animate this character, and you just got to steal this and put this in 4 times, right? Just to get this thing going, and you'll know if you screw it up, if you up, down, left, or right, or anything like that. So if I'm pressing left, this will be H speed. Oh, sorry, did I change up, down? I'm sorry, this is V speed. I'm in my head doing something different, and the V speed is going to be positive. And then the animation is going to be down. And so now I can go up and down. All it took was 3 seconds there. It took a while to write it. There's my up, there's my down, my up, there's my down. So there you go. And so it'll always be on a row. And that's the important part. The columns going horizontally isn't as important, but we're still going to do it where he's going to animate one frame or one square at a time, 150 by 50 tile as we go. So let's see. This one's going to be left. Now I can finally do my H speed. My H speed is negative. My Penger left sprite. And then I'll follow suit with the right. And then the only difference here is +5 and right. And let's try it out. So now the character should go one. Gotta hold him there. There's left, there's right. And again, it doesn't necessarily matter. He will go one frame or 150 pixel tile at a time, but he can't go both ways, right? The alarm makes it so he only goes one way at a time. You can't accidentally go diagonal or anything like that. And so the character now can move around, and he doesn't look... and just let him taunt the things that are going to be killing him in the next couple minutes here. But that's all there is to getting this little guy to animate and look halfway decent, right? And get him so that he won't be stuck between top. Alrighty. So now let's talk about how we set up all the other moving objects, and then push from there. Okay, so let's get the cars going. That's the first item that comes up against you here. There's our sprite for this guy. So car left on create. We can just say, oh, hey, H speed equals, and I'll just say -2. That's it. Or at least get them going anyway. So then now all the cars are going to the left. There's no animation or anything like that, so it's all, but they go to the left. And so you notice we need them to do kind of that come around thing, right? So it's a little, I mean, I can use the wrap settings, but I'd rather not. And so what I'm going to do here in a step event is just do a little check here. And I'm just going to say, and this is just, let me write it, then I'll talk it out. If the X value of our object, since that's the upper left-hand corner, we'll have to go back and fix these sprites up to make sure we hit collisions later on, because GameMaker 2.3 right now is a little wonky on that. And if you've been with me for any other videos, you hear me bitching and moaning about that non-stop. But if the X value is less than the negative sprite width, X plus equals room width. Let's try that out. I'm like 90% sure this is going to work the way I expect it to. Okay, and you see it is kind of working. Okay, my 90% is 90%. But you see, once the character goes off the screen to the left, he just magically comes back around. And so what that means is, because of the way the sprite is, the sprite, the upper left-hand corner is the X position, and if the room is over here, if this is the 0 position of the room, that means if the X position, if this is sprite width, that's a GameMaker variable, and it's different for every sprite and every object. So that means basically if this value is further over than the sprite is from this, that means it's off the screen completely. It's like an outside room event. And then what I did was just add the room width, another GameMaker variable, to go back and go, okay, now go back one full room width. And that's why it looks like it's kind of just teleporting, is because what I can do then is add a little bit more and just say, how about that sprite width? But what's nice about this is I never have to write this code ever again. If I change the sprite and I change the room, I change any detail of this, I never have to come back in and rewrite the code. The penguin I do, because I hard-coded that. I didn't want to complicate matters. We're already at least a half hour into this video. I didn't really want to complicate things too much. But now things should look a little better here. And you can see now when they go off the screen, they don't teleport anymore. They basically just come right back to where they would be on the other side. Looking pretty good, right? Okay, so that covers basically just the movement of the left-facing car. And just for this, we can steal this, copy this, and move this into the left-facing log as well, or the left-moving log. Because there's nothing different about the log, but I have to put a create event in here. Forgot about that. Sorry about that. So I do need to put a create event in here and say hspeed equals, give it a higher value, -4. Now I can rerun it. And there they go. And now all the left logs are looking good. All the left cars are going. Oh, we could do the same thing for the snake as well. And so the snake, I won't make the same mistake twice, at least right now anyway. hspeed equals, make it -7. And then I can paste that event in so that the snake can do the same stuff. Now I've got all the left moving characters moving appropriately. Ooh, cool. So then let us go now and fix up the right-facing stuff. It's just a little more complicated because the math is a little different. It's the same idea. It just goes the other way. So let's take a look at the right-facing car. I will give it a create event, and I will give it an hspeed of +2. And then I will go ahead and paste this guy in. So now, again, it's the opposite idea. If the x value is greater than the room width, because now the x value coming back again, now where's the sprite? If this is the room, if this is the edge of the room, once this thing is off to the right, then the whole thing is off. So it doesn't need to worry about the extra sprite width. It just needs to worry about the room boundary. And if I do that, then I just subtract off, and let's just see if this is it, if that's all I have to do. And let's see if it teleports. No, it's done. Everything that goes right, watch any of these two here as they go, and they come around and they don't teleport. They come back in appropriately. And so all the cars are looking good. And so now this is the code I want to steal for everything, I guess the logs. That's it then. Copy this event for the logs that go right. Give this thing a speed again. I think it was 4 I did. It's been a while, and it's already been a couple minutes for me. And then add that in. And I guess it doesn't much matter. But there we go. All my logs, all my snakes, all my cars, my characters moving around. I can hold down the key and move wherever I want to. And everybody's happy. At least for right now, nobody's dying. Nothing's happening. And so let's see. We'll have to fix up. Oh, it's not happening in this case. But it's possible in your case that the penguin is being drawn under the log. In my case, it's not, and that's because maybe just the way I added the objects to the scene. But let me see if I can if I just move this up here, move the penguin in my instance layer all the way to the top, and try again. Because everything at the same depth order, everything at the same layer is up. It's up to GameMaker how it draws it. And so now you see the penguin is being drawn under the log. And so one little fix-up I can do right now is to go into my penguin object, go into my create event, and just say, hey, depth, you're -1. And that means that if the penguin is in the same layer as anything else, because everything else is defaulted to depth of 0, the negative value means it'll be drawn on top of everything else, closer to your eye. And no matter how I change things now inside of the layer properties over here, it doesn't matter that the -1 will beat the 0 every single time. And so good. So even with that mistake in there, mistake quote unquote, everything's working like it's supposed to. So now we're ready to kill them off. We'll do everything but the timer and the off. Well, the off screen won't work properly because you can still see him looking at you. It's like, I'm safe for now. Nobody can get me. But we'll make it so that will kill him at a later time here. Okie dokie. So let's go ahead and do that now. If you've watched my previous video lecture series when I took Frogger, or if you've been in my classes over the years, and we've done the Frogger with the drag and drop interface, you see that there's when the penguin dies, there's a lot going on, and it repeats itself over and over and over again. And so we generally have to go back over and over and over again and fix up and be like, well, now we're going to add this and now we're going to add that. Then 20 minutes later, we add another thing to it. But what's great about writing code and having all this, we can create a script that will handle that. So we only have to worry about it in one place. So I can create a script, call it kill frog or kill penger. And there it is. There's my function. And then I don't need anything to go with it. This time around, I don't need any parameters. I don't need to worry about anything. I just need to do, what do I need to do? Let's just start out real easy to make sure it works. Okay, so we say, oops, that's a capital I. No wonder why it looks all weird. Oops, call. Wonder why it looks very strangely. Kill penger. And so right now, how about this? X equals X start. And y equals y start. At least put him back to where he was, right? And so, yep, okay, cool. So then now what we can do, go into our penger object and say, okay, on collision with, we'll just use car left for the moment. How about kill penger? And let's see what happens. Okay, oops, you can't see anything. Let me move over and go boop, boop. Okay, right cars are different, but I go left car and I go boop. There it is. And that's pretty cool, right? Because at least got them going. And you notice maybe things aren't right. What if I'm going, like, what if I die like this? I press up, and notice now I am stuck between two rows because of the way things work out. So there's a lot of little details here. And thank goodness we're only writing this in one place, unlike what we would do in the previous videos and stuff like that. So now I can just reset my alarm and just say, okay, you're off. There's no more worrying about an alarm. My speed should be 0. And how about we reset his animation, so in his image or sprite index. Sprite index. And so that he's facing toward you again. Penger down. And his image speed is 0. There's a lot going on, right? Reset the alarm timer, do this, do that, so that nothing else happens. So now when I die, he's staring at you. He does, like if I go up, see, notice he's... So maybe the last thing I need to do on top of all of this is say image index equals 0. Again, aren't we glad we're just writing this one time and just going, what do we got? There we go. And wait a minute. I thought I was setting the speed. Interesting. Press up. Whoops, I didn't mean to close it. Let me try this again. I'm just trying to make sure. Let me just see what happened. Up. Yeah, if you're holding down the up key as you die, right? That's a big... Maybe we could put an alarm timer on the penguin so that instead of setting them up immediately with that, we can just say, okay, only after a frame or two or maybe half a second. Because yes, I could just hold down the up and I'm dead. Oh, not right here. I'm dead, I'm dead, I'm dead, I'm dead, I'm dead, I'm dead. I'm dead 100 times. But I don't think that's a right now problem. I think that's a later on problem. Okay, so for that, penguin, car left, duplicate car right. This is why I was saying why don't we set up a base class for this? So I could say, instead of having car left and car right, because they're cars, right? And it doesn't matter what direction a car is moving. A car is a car. And so what I can do is set up an object, and I like to use the term base class. So car base class, and I'm going to parent, and I'm going to say the two cars, car left and car right, are my children. And again, this is called inheritance. This is what we call an is-a relationship. A car that's moving left is a car. A car that's moving right is a car. You are a student. A banana is a fruit. Those kind of things. And so what I can do again with this is say, in Penguin here, instead of colliding with left car, how about I change this event to be collision? Oh, come on. To be collision with car base class. And you don't need any sprites for the base class. It's just there to kind of hold the children together and just have some kind of object-oriented basis. So now, what did I do, right? Oopsies. It's not working at all. What is happening? Penguin, the car. Let's just make sure. Our base class, the two children, our left, our right. Does it need that sprite? I'm just gonna, let me pop in a sprite and see. I really didn't think I needed it, but maybe I do nowadays. I mean, parenting is parenting, so let's see now. Nope. What am I doing? Those of you are like, what the hell's Brad's problem? What's he doing wrong? Let me try, I don't know. What is actually wrong here? Did I put the wrong, our base class, kill Penger? I'm gonna take a look. I'll come right back. Oh, Smurf berries. I'm not allowed to swear, right? So this is angering. So all I did, because this works, this should work. All I did was erase the collision and put it in fresh and just say kill Penger, because that's our script, right? To kill Penger. And I run it again. I mean, it didn't work. You saw it. I saw it. I tried 100 things. But now, there it is. There it is. I don't understand. There's just something, the 2.3 in GameMaker, that should be a bug report, because especially with the sprites not updating correctly, something did not update correctly. So if you have the same experience, like, it can get frustrating. I've only been working with GameMaker for about what now, 14, 15 years now. And so it gets a little frustrating when things that you expect to work, that should work, because that's how everything works, doesn't work appropriately. So just be warned on that one. And so, okay, so we're ready to kind of move on now with that understanding that the cars kill the Penger. And so what I can do here is just go back now into our Penger. Now we got to try out everything here and just say duplicate for collision with snake. And duplicate for collision with our outside room. Sorry, duplicate for, duplicate for other outside room. Okay, so let's see, car right, car left, car right, snake, and then outside room. And that's what I was saying, I'm not outside room, but I am now. So we'll have to fix that up once we're happy with everything, once we're done here. That'll be the last step, is to move everything down a little bit. Okay, so now the next thing I want to be able to do is have, oh, I forgot one little thing. How could I forget this? And so this is the great part again. This one line of code, if I forget something I want to add to this, right? If there's something I want to add, I don't have to go back and remember all the places that I wrote the code. That is the killer. Now, literally, figuratively, I'm just being nerdy again. Okay, but what I can do now is to go into the script to fix up the one thing I want to fix up, and I'll show you that right now. All right, so I'm proud of myself here. Cover your eyes if you don't like gore. Here you go, ready? Here comes the frog. Boom. Yeah, there you go. That is some good fireworking right there. And so what I did, I put this in the kill Penger here. I just set up this for create effect, or effect create above fireworks. I made it 4 of them, 1 in each corner of where the character is. 2 is as large as you can get, and I used C red. And I have to do this before I move him back to the start position, because otherwise he'll blow up in his place back at the start. And that's all there is to that. Our penguin is dead. We will come back in a little bit. We're almost ready now. We have to do the movement on the log, but then we're ready to set up the win conditions, scoring, lives, health, and all that kind of stuff. So we're making good progress here. We're making very good progress. So, okay, so now what I need to do is set up an object for the, or set up an object for the water. If you've followed along with the previous videos, it's the same kind of stuff. We're using a background. We're using background tiling for the water, but there's no object there. So we have to go ahead and work that out. And so to make this work properly, because just a little bit of detail here. When we set this thing up, we're going to need a sprite. I am going to set up a new sprite. I'm going to call it water sprite. It's going to be invisible, but it needs to be there for the collision events to take place. And as for sizing, This thing needs to be 1280 because my game is 1280 wide. But the height, you would think 5 times 50? You'd be like, because my water has 5 rows to it, and each row is 50 pixels. But how about I make this 202 or 204? And the reasoning is, I'll show it to you when I put this thing into the room. Let me apply it. Let me edit this thing. Let me add the coloring. I'm just going to add a purple color so we can see it. And so don't touch any of the centering or anything like that. And so that's where I'm going to put the water sprite. I am going to go ahead and jam it in there now. Oh, I need an object for it, duh. I need an object. I call it water. Give it the water sprite. Okay, don't touch. You can make it, we should make it invisible, because in the room you'll see it, but in the game you won't, because you don't want it. And I'm just going to put it in right there, right on the edge there. And so what happens is, if you make this the entire size, the character will die immediately when they go and try to press up or move around, and there's no log in that position. And so this will delay the death. He'll walk in and basically fall into his death, and he'll explode. Let's just say the penguin is made of pure sodium and potassium. That's what I'm going with here. A pure chemical reaction where the character just explodes when he hits the water. So again, you can see it here, but you do not see it when you run the game if you click that visible tab to be off. And so I have everything how I want this. The only thing is maybe I want to put this thing behind everything like we did before with talking about the penguin. And so in the editor itself, it's drawn behind everything. And you can actually turn it on and off if you want to see the actual water there, which is pretty cool. GameMaker has it. That is pretty cool. I give GameMaker a lot of crap for things, but I think that's pretty cool there. Okay, so now we have our water set up, and now we're going to kill the penguin, but we need to know, right? So we need, basically we need to figure out what to do here. And so in this case, this is a collision with the water object. And right now, just to try it out, we can say, if you touch the water, die. Just to make sure we have everything where we want it. Just to show you again what I meant by this. Okay, so everything kills you, so I got to be careful here. Let's say but I touched the water. See it? Yep. Oh, not this again. Not this again. The Panger collides with water, and he's supposed to die. Right? We have all of this stuff. My goodness, what is wrong? It has nothing to do with visibility. Our water is in the frame. Our water is in the instance layer. What in the world is going on today with this? Let me put a breakpoint in here. Let me just see if we ever get there. He's totally in the water. Okay, let me try. Let me delete that event again. Try again. Collision with water. I'll fix it up if I have to. Kill Panger. Let's see. Left car, right car, snake. What in the world? Okay, let's try one more time. Water. Okay, so now since it's not working, I'm just going to make it visible and see what the deal is. Maybe something's weird. I don't know. Nope, there's the water. Oh. Hold on here. That's a lot of blood. Okay, so but I'm oh, God bless it. Okay, here we go. But I'm touching the water. I'm touching the water. Why is this not doing anything? I have the penguin colliding with water, which calls, like everything else, kill Panger. Oh, this is driving me crazy. What is going on here? I'm going to have to take another look. Oh, am I going to... My brain is going to fry. Oh, my God. Okay, the reason why this isn't working... I just thought about it, and coming back, I totally foreshadowed this one. The water sprite's collision mask is 0, 0. Yep, there it is. Because GameMaker, when you do this and change the sprite settings up here using the size editor, does not affect the collision mask. So son of a, I have to go in and say, okay, 0 to 1279, and from 0 to 203, and now that should do it. Oh my. If I'm getting these frustrations, you guys get just as many, or if not more, right? So that's why I keep these in for you. Now you can see, it takes almost the entire movement into the water for the character to die. Which is fair, because he's jumping into the water. He shouldn't just die immediately as he touches it. Oh my word, GameMaker. Please fix this in the next release. Okay, so the water sprite's okay. I can go ahead now and make it invisible again. Well, all bets are off, right? So hold on, let me try one more time. Okay, good. Okay, so now it's invisible and I still die when I hit the water. So now the next step here is to put a secondary check in here and to say if I do an instance place, no, I'm sorry, place meeting. Let me add my customary curly braces here. If I say, hey, if I'm colliding with the water right now, am I colliding with a log? And we're going to do the same thing we did for the car. We're going to set up a base class. Oh God, I hope it works. Object log base class. If you don't like the word base class, you don't have to do it, but I do it, you know. And just for the sake of this, I'm going to use a sprite, even though I never had to in the past, and all these other little details. And I'm going to make sure that the logs are my children. I got log left, log right. And so now that the logs are parented just like the cars are, because a log, doesn't matter which direction the log is moving, it's still a log. And so now I can come back in here and say, hey, if I am trying, let's see, log base class. If I am not touching a log while I'm touching the water, kill me. So now this should go like this. I go, I'm alive. I'm alive. But as soon as the log takes me off, I'm dead, which makes sense because I'm in the water and I'm not touching a log. And so you're like, well, how do I get this thing to move with me? I think we can just add an else here, because if I'm touching the water, I'm in the water, and then I'm touching a log. So all I have to do is say, take whatever I'm in the collision event, so I can use the other keyword. No, I can't. Hold on, let's fix this up appropriately here. Let's change this up, because the place meeting function just gives me a true false value. And so we could have, theoretically, many logs with different speeds and all sorts of crazy nonsense. So let me fix this up. Let me fix this part up right here. And let me just say var ints equals, that's a var, var. And I'm going to change the function to instance place. And let's see, yep, it's the same parameters, xy object, semicolon. And so now instead of returning a true false, this will either return an object or it will return a keyword in GameMaker called no one. And so let's replace false with no one and try this again. Let me get to the water here. And so there, okay, dead. But then if I touch the log, I'm still good until the water comes off. So that's much better now, because now ints tells me specifically, precisely, exactly which log I'm touching. And if I have different logs at different speeds, I can go ahead and work with that. But what I can say here now is x plus equals ints dot hspeed. And now that should do it, because it's like, okay, I know which log I'm colliding with, so go get me that log, get me its speed, and add it to my x value. Move me along at the same speed as the log. And there we go. Isn't that cool? And now I'm across, and now we need to set up everything else. But I can jump off like anything else, and I'm dead immediately. If I touch the water, I'm dead. But as long as I'm on touching a log, I can move along with it, and everybody's happy with what I'm doing there. Oh no, that was a close one. All right, phew. That was fun. Okay, so now our next steps are to add the winning condition, basically the score, the lives, and the timer. So we got 3 more things to go, and we still have to move all the objects around so that, so this is still 720p resolution and not like 710. Not an offshoot resolution. Looking at you, Apple. Okay, so let's set up scoring, then set up lives, then set up timer, and then we'll come back around and fix up the win condition when we get across the lake. Because that one seems to be, it'll probably be the trickiest. Maybe it won't be too bad, but it'll be a little trickier than everything else. Okay, so let's worry about score. So to get that going, I'm going to create a font. Got to find it here. Font. All right, I'm going to create one. I am going to use, and right, you can always change your fonts later on, right? That's the nice part about this kind of stuff here. And I'm just going to pick one. I'm just going to call it the score font. All right, I'm just going to pick, I always pick random. Well, what you going to do? Let's see, regular. And I'm going to pick 20. Maybe that's too big. That's the thing with font size versus pixel size. Like, I don't know how many pixels that is. Maybe 18. We'll try it out, and if it doesn't work, then we'll fix it up later. And I don't like that font. Let me just pick a different one. That one, yeah, sure. Do I get, ooh, light italic. Yeah, sure, whatever. Okay, so I'm going to use that for my score font. And so for right now, with our Panger guy, I'm going to use that font in a Draw GUI event. I don't need to take over the draw event of the penguin. I just need to draw basically into the HUD on top, right? So what I can do is just say draw text, and I can say draw set font first. Draw set font, and I can say I want my score font. I just gotta find it here. Score font. Okay, I'm gonna set the color just in case. See white. And I'm gonna draw text. I'm just gonna put it just on the screen right now. I'm just gonna say 1UP, colon, and I'm gonna add string score. Let me just try this, then I'll talk it out. Oh, I meant draw set font, draw set color. Draw set font, draw set color, draw text. Let's see what happens. Oh, that font's terrible, but it works. But you see, there's my 1UP, so I probably want to, well, first thing I want to do is just find a better font. A little, sure. Am I allowed, nothing's allowed to bold anymore. Century, or is it just Century Gothic? That looks nice. Let's see. All the people I used to work with at the slot machine company said I had a thing for fonts. I'm like, nope, I just have an eye for detail that the artists sometimes did not have because they don't care about fonts, which I don't blame them, but whatever. So there's my 1UP, and there's my score, colon score, and maybe now, maybe instead of at 5, maybe I could just play around just a tiny little bit with the centering and just maybe move this over a little bit more, 20, 10, just to try to figure out where to put the thing. 5 used to work perfectly when I worked in a 32 world, so I would think, oh, 10, maybe I'll try 1, maybe I'll try 11, and then I'll call it a day. I promise I won't just be doing this all day long. So there's my 1UP 0. Okay, fair. That's cool. And so if I move up, if I move forward, it's kind of like football, right? Every time I move up one space, I should get some points. And so to make that work, I'm going to set up a variable for my penguin, and I'm going to say, what is my scoring y value? I'm just going to name it just weirdly, and I'm going to say equals y. I'm just going to call that. So the scoring y value is going to be the y value that I'm at when I start the game. And what I'm going to do then in the alarm event, every time I finish moving, I'm going to go if my y value is less than that scoring y value. My scoring y value is going to be equal to that, and I'm going to add 10 points to my score. And just to finish things up on the other end, I'm going to set the score to 0 here just to be on the safe side. So scoring of 0. Okay, and then draw the score out. And every time I hit my alarm timer, when a step ends, if my y value is less than, because I'm going upwards, I got my 10 points. And what's cool about this is I can't just go back up and down, up and down, up and down like I could if I was doing those the games I did for the drag and drop version. I just have them subtract 10. But you shouldn't ever lose points. So now, but then once I go up here, I go, there's my 20. And now I can't get 30. I can't just keep jumping up and up and up, up. And so, boom, okay. And that's cool, right? I got my points, but when I die, notice I don't get any points again. And so what we need to come back to is just to steal the create event here and just steal this line of code and place that into the kill pangers. And just go ahead and say, move him back. And now this one has to go after I moved him back to the start position. And now every time I play and every time I go through, I can do it again. There's 10, and now I get 20, and 30, and 40. So I can, like, on my turn, I can only do it one time. But once I come back and I do another turn, oops, once I do another turn, you can see now it works again. So I think that's a very good way of working it out. And now we have our score on the screen. Our scoring is done. And now we're ready to push forward into lives, which is not that big a deal either. Let's do it now. Okay, so coming back into here, coming back into our main character. Where are we here? Why can't I find it? There it is. Okay, so in the create event, I'm going to say lives is equal to 4. And that's just extra lives. If you want to, but I'm just going to call it lives. And so what I'm going to do here, lives is equal to 4. And what I can do here in the kill panger is put minus minus lives. So I subtract 1 off. And now the only thing is I don't know how to use, I got to learn. I have to learn. I've never done this in code. I generally don't do this in code because I generally don't use lives when I make games. Usually I play games, lives is like an old school kind of thing, but we're doing it since it's an old school game. In the draw GUI event here, I'm going to do a draw. Let's see let's just find what I think I'm going to look for here. I'm looking for anything with lives. And so I'm going to have to look this up, and I'll look it up. Let's see, draw. Yeah, I thought it would be a little easier to find. Something where it'll, because there's a drag and drop element for it. So let's see where there's a a code element for finding where to draw the lives as images. I am not immediately finding anything that will draw the lives like I'm expecting it to, so I guess we'll just write some code. Fair enough. And so what I want to do is draw the number of extra lives at the top of the screen here. I just want to, like, somewhere along, we can just get it going, and then we can figure out where to put it. So just so you know how many extra lives you have that you can tinker with. And so that's a for loop. For var I equals 0, I is less than lives plus I. And so what I want to do is draw a sprite. I want to draw a sprite. I don't need to worry about extending it or anything like that. And I want to draw a panger down sprite. I want to image 0. That'd be cute if it was, am I in the panger? Let's see. Let's see if this looks cute. I'm just going to use image index instead of 0. You'll see it, instead of setting it to 0, you'll see why when I try it here. And I'm going to say, well, what is my x value? My x value, let's just say 200 plus, I'll say 55 times I, and I'll use 0 for the y. Okay, so you can see all that to make sure I did it right. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Is that cute or is that not cute? I don't know. Maybe it's cute, maybe it's not. So there it is. So I have 4 lives. And now I have 3 because I died. And now I have 2 extra lives. And because of all that code. So maybe 200. That sprite does not look good on a black background. But oh well. Or maybe we can tinker with it just a slight bit. If you want to tinker with the background color, make it just slightly gray. I don't know. Maybe that looks a little better. But notice how it animates while you're moving. I don't think it actually looks as good as I thought it was going to. So maybe I don't want to do that. So I can just go back in here. I don't know why. Oh, 50. I guess maybe 45. And then and instead of image index, use image 0. So it's a static image that's being drawn on the screen every time. And that looks a little better. Let me move it over a little bit. 400 plus. And I'll leave it alone at this point, I promise you. So there he goes. There's my extra lives. And there I'm down to 4, 3, 2, 1. And so what I can do at this stage here also, where do you put this kind of code? I would put this maybe in a step event or yeah, whatever, and just do some checks here and just say if my lives, you could try it out here, is just say equal to 0, just to try this out. I'll do a room restart. And I believe, and this is where, you know, the difference between 4 lives and 5 lives. 2, 1. So now you're thinking, you think you have 1 extra life in your reserve, but you don't because the game restarted. So I'm going to, instead of saying equal 0, I'm going to say less than 0. And then I'm going to use a show message to say game over. And then the game will restart once you hit OK. So I've got my 5 lives. So I've got 4. Got 3, I got extra, I got 1 extra one, now I got 0 extra one, and now when I die, there's my game over. My blood is just starting to curdle there. Game over and everything restarts. So there's the lives. There's my score. And now the final step here is to work out the health. Use the health bar to basically draw the timer. Let's do that. Okay, so what I want to do is set up our player so that they have basically 30 seconds to get through and beat the level. And so I have the alarm timer 0 is already being used for movement, but I want to set up a timer that kills you. So we'll use alarm timer 1. And I'm just going to say 1800. I'll use 1800. It's 30 seconds. Our game is running at 60 frames per second, and we're going to try 30 seconds. So you could try it, if that makes it easier for you, that's 1800. And I definitely, before I forget, want to set that up into the script itself. When I die, and look at all this stuff going on already, I'm just going to say, okay, reset the timer to 1800 frames every time you die. Because otherwise, you get to the end, and then the timer doesn't get reset, you're going to die anyway. So it really doesn't make much sense. And then the timer gets counted down. And so that's all that we have to worry about. So right now, well, just to say, like, let me just put this in, and then I can wait. I can just blab on for 30 seconds at a time. And I can go to our panger, and I can just steal one of these guys. Not that one. Steal this one and just duplicate for alarm timer 1. And so just give it 30 seconds. Okay, so I just go. Just walk around. Just make sure I don't die. Just can't go outside room down here just yet. So I can walk around. Tempt fate. And I just go. I just want to make sure I'm somewhere not near the start when 30 seconds elapses. And I'm just going to have a drink of my beautiful cold soda while I wait for that. I've run out of things to talk about. I'm not one of those people who talks forever. I'm not a small talker. So are we dead yet? There he goes. And his pacemaker just exploded from the pressure. And so that happens. And just, should I wait another 30 seconds just to prove? Maybe I should. Okay, goodness. And then the thing we're going to do once we make sure this works is we're going to go back ahead and set it up so that there's a timer on the upper right-hand side, like using the health bar to tell me exactly how much time I have left to go. And then there we go. So I'm dead, 30, and it resets the timer. Every time I die, the timer gets reset because we showed that earlier. Okay, so let's make that work. So then the last place to put that is right back here in the draw GUI. And so now there is a line of code for it that I haven't used in a long time here. Draw health bar. My goodness, look at all of those different settings. And I go, okay, my X1, I'll say 800. My Y1 will be 5. My X2 will be, was it 1280 is my thing, so I'll say 1250. Let's see, I'll say my Y2 should be 45. And if it doesn't work, amount, we could say, okay, alarm 1 divided into 18. And that's because 18, this is just a math equation. I have a value that's between 0 and 1800, right? For what is alarm 1 at this given time. And the health bar needs to be drawn between 0 and 100. So ultimately, all I need to do to take a value in a range of 0 to 1800 to convert it to a range of 0 to 100 is just divided by 18. Because 0 still goes to 0, but 1800 goes to 100, and that's what I want out of this deal. Okay, so then now the next, it's not giving me their background color, C black, min color, C red, max color, C green, direction, now I gotta go look it up. And I'm just going into the manual on this, and it's just showing me all the things. So I wanted to go left to right, so I'm gonna use a 1. Show back, true, sure. Let's see what that does. And then show border, true. And let's just try it out. There's a lot of settings there. Let me see if I can get this. Kind of almost. So there it is. There's my timer. I'm just going to leave it. If you don't like it, you can make it smaller, bigger, colorize it. But it starts out green because it's happy. Green is always the go color, right? And as we start moving toward danger, we start moving into the red. Oranges and yellows and reds and all that. And you can see it's going crazy. And so, oops, I died, so it took me back. But you can see that's pretty cool, right? Because there's my timer for how much time I have to go before Mr. Penguin decides to up and quit. And I can go play around with the score up here. I can't go any further, obviously, at this point in time. But you can see there's my 30-second timer. And, oh, come on, last time. We already proved he dies, but just to say, just to show that our mathematics works properly. And there he goes, and now he's perfectly fine again. Boom, 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 game over, start over, life is good. So at this point, if you're happy with your game, the game is pretty much done. But what I want to do is come back in here and set this up so that we can have a winning condition and a losing condition, and have the little, like a lily pad, or just maybe I'll find a little home sprite so he can get himself into his home, and he can, instead of just trying to get into the grass. So let's do that, and then we'll up the score on that, and then we'll call it a day. We're pretty much almost done with the development side of things. Let me just get going. Even when I was a little child, there was a cartoon called Chilly Willy, and even then, that was old. You ever heard Chilly Willy with igloos and pancakes and all sorts of stuff? You ever heard of that cartoon character? Well, did he ever live in an igloo? I don't remember. Lots of little things, but penguins love igloos because it's cold, right? Because they can go live in a little igloo. So I just found a sprite for an igloo that was transparent except for the igloo. And I just then went ahead and set it up so that make sure the height was 50. And in this case, it was 92. And this is what it's going to look like in real size. So again, the width doesn't necessarily matter as long as the height is 92, right? I mean, that makes sense. And so all I want to do now is go ahead and create an object for my igloo. A object instead of a sprite. igloo, and then give it that sprite of the igloo, of course, and then place some in our room. So now instead of, like up here, we have the tile set from before. Let me get rid of the graphic so I can see what's going on. And so, excuse me, so what I can do now is drag my objects into the instance layer. And I go, oh, shoot. Oh, that's not transparent. Oh, they lied to me, those igloo people. Okay, so give me a second to fix my igloo up. I really thought this thing was transparent here. Oh, goodness, it just looked transparent. It wasn't really transparent. Okay, so give me 1 minute and let me fix up my igloo. Well, it turns out, surprisingly or not, that it's hard to find an igloo that is actually transparent. So I finally found one, scaled it down. It's a completely new one. So it's going to look like, how do I get back to the, yep. It doesn't look like that. It's going to look like that on the screen. So let's place some of these things in the room now. Instances. There's my igloo. There we go. Oops. Put the tile back, everything back into place here. Use 50 by 50. And just say, okay, so now we've got some igloos on this side, on that side, in the middle somewhere. Just put 5 igloos. Something like that. And what I'm going to do then, I'm going to call this object, instead of igloo, I'm just going to call it igloo empty. So in the Frogger game, and I'm not going to worry about centering this, that's for you to worry about if you really want to. I'm in the Frogger game, once you're in there, right? So I'm just going to make this set up so that you can only put one penguin in there, and if you try to get in there when they're already there, things are going to be bad. You're going to lose a life if you touch an igloo that is full. And so what's going to happen is we're going to play the game, and when the character touches the empty igloo, it's going to turn into a full igloo. We'll draw the character out front or something so it knows that that this thing is full. And then we'll basically give you a win condition instead of a lose condition. So we'll actually have a second script here that says, or second script that says, win condition penguin or something like penger or something like that. And so let's just kind of set this up. Let's just kind of get this going here. The game. So for the kill penger, I'm going to duplicate this. I'll just call it win, or I'll just say it's success penger. Success penger. Go in here, change the function name to success penger, and no blood. We don't need blood. Nope, no blood. Success penger. Go back to start. This and that. Set this up. Down sprite. Nope. Don't reduce the lives. But basically set everything else back. Right. Go to the start position. You can score again. Reset the alarm and the speed and the sprite and everything else. And yep, I think that's our success penger. And so we have our empty igloo. I can duplicate this also. And I'm going to call this igloo full. And so what I'm going to do for penger here is I'm going to say if I collide. Let me fix up the sprite on this thing. I'm sorry to kind of go around. I have not done this in a video yet. So my igloo sprite, just to make sure I do this just right, kind of like we did before for the water, I'm going to tinker manually with this, and the bottom is going to be at like 5. Just the top, so the character can go into the space. He won't live or die immediately. It'll all take place. It'll look like the character's actually walking into where the igloo is. Okay, so there is the good part of our sprite for this guy. So now coming back to penger, if there is a collision with empty igloo, what I can do is do success penger. And then what I can do is I can say with other instance change into the igloo full. And then perform events, sure. Doesn't much matter. We don't really have anything going on there. So we're saying, okay, success for me. Oh, and maybe we can give success And then success for a score, maybe we can add score to this. We say, oh, 250 points for getting across. Okay? That looks pretty good. Oops, plus equals, sorry. Plus equals, like, why is that turning red? Okay. We'll add 250 to the score. I think we're happy. And then say with the other is the empty igloo object we're collided with, turn it into an igloo full. How do we know the difference graphically? I'll make like this. I'll do a draw self for the igloo, and then I will draw sprite. I will draw a sprite at, sprite is Panger down sprite. And I will go image 0, and I will do this at x plus 40 comma y. Like, let's just try that out and see what happens. Okay, there's my igloos. Oops. Oh god, that was horrible. That was instant death. Anyway, so, okay, so here we go, and I go, and there it goes. So now I see that the Panger is there. And you can see that the things have changed though, huh? Oh my goodness. The things have changed here. So I go, okay, and now I do it again. I can go to another one. Now but again, I can't go to that one because it's full already. So even if I touch it now, it doesn't count. And I can go there. And so what I also want to do then is that figures everything kind of out there. I have my draw sprite for that. And so now, coming back to our Panger, steal this guy, and I say, okay, if I collide, duplicate, if I collide with a full igloo, kill the penguin. Because that penguin, the other penguin, that's its territory, that's its home, you are dead. You only get one per. And so the last thing to do is to fix up. I guess we could leave the grass. Like your job is to get home, right? We could leave the grass. If you want to turn the grass green, from green to white to make it more like ice, maybe that would be more fitting, or something with some contrast to it. But I think that's pretty good. That's a pretty good thing here. Get 250 points. And so again, there I'm dead because I touched somewhere I didn't belong. This one's always the hard one here. Oof, just made it. In the real game, that first one was always the hard one. You probably should have always gone for that first. So you can run out if you, oops, oh boy. But anyway, you get the point. But the final thing here is, well, what happens if I fill up everything, right? What if there's 5 of these guys in the game? Like, I can't go anywhere else now, and now it's just a lost cause. This poor little penguin has no home. What are we going to do for him? And so we have to maybe set up something, if you do get all 5, that something comes up and says, okay, level defeated, start again, or something like that. And keep the game going, but keep the score. So what we can do here is we say, okay, if I collide with an empty, change it to a full igloo, and what then I can say is, if the instance count, the instance, is it count? Number? If the instance number of igloo full is equal to 5, I'll just say greater than or equal to 5. It should never be more than 5, but if there is, we'll take care of it. And then what we can say is, we can do a show message, level complete. And then what we can say here, once you click on that, you can say, with all the igloos that are full, change them back. Instance change into igloo empty. And let's try that out. I can anticipate maybe one thing going wrong. I wish that car wouldn't tailgate the others so closely. They are going slow and all. Maybe he's just pushing them off to whatever. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, that's not my business. So there's my 2. One like I was saying earlier. No! Try again. I don't want to bother you guys too much with this and make you watch me play, but we don't 100% know if this is going to work yet. Got ourselves a little penguin home for everybody. It's so cute. I love it. Ooh. Thank goodness for mistakes in the bounding boxes there. Okay. Oops. I gotta work on that. Gotta work on that up arrow key. Can't hold down the up while you're winning because it'll just go right up and you'll die. You don't want that. Okay, so let's see what happens. I go over, and you go, oh, level complete. And then my score stays put, the number of lives stays put, and we start again. And so if you really want, like, there are so many things obviously we can do. We could go to the next room. We could have different rooms with different speeds and different layouts. There's obviously so much that you can do with this, but that is not the point of what we are trying to do today. We're 99.7% done. The last thing I want to do is set this up to move everything down just that little bit, those couple pixels, so everything's on the bottom of the screen, and then kind of give a little more space at the top. So move all the tiles down and move all the objects down, but then the game should play exactly the same. And that's what I'm going to do right now and call it a day. All right, I was worried about the offset for the tile set, but it actually turns out to be pretty easy. There's a setting inside of the tile set here for the offsets for this tile set. So I'm going to say the Y offset's going to be 20. That shifts everything down 20 pixels. And then for the instance layer, I'm just going to go and hold down Shift and mouse over everybody. And I don't know. I right-click on, how do I move them down? Okay, so I'll have to change the setting, the grid settings, to a Y of 10 to make this work. And I just have to move down 2 times. I think that should do it. And that screws up our top row, but we can fix that up. That's not too bad. But everything is down, now set up so that that bottom row doesn't have anything else. I should have done that so much earlier if I knew it was that easy. I thought it was going to ruin everything. I really thought it was going to ruin everything when it comes to setting things up and making it complicated. But now you're dead. There you go. Boom, 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 off the screen. But then the only thing here is going off the screen down. There's 1 extra pixel. It's terrible. It's really horrendous when it comes to this. And I think what I can do, no, I don't really think what I can do here. I don't want to change the rooms, this setting here. But what I can do here in the alarm event is just do 1 extra little thing here. Or where is the outside room event? Like, is it like the outside room? We could just make it intersect room. We could try that instead, where we just change this event for intersect room, intersect boundary. So now instead of, but it's an instantaneous kill though, but maybe it should be. Boom. Nope, it should not be. That should not be. Let me go put that back outside room. Change event to outside room. It's that key down versus key press that's killing it. If you really want to go in, if you really want to fix this up and make it so that just change this to be keyboard check pressed for all of these. So you physically have to hit the key every time you want to move, instead of holding the button down. So you have to go just keep going. It makes it a little, there's right now, like for this game, I am essentially done. I've been doing this all day trying to make this video for you guys. But I say that's the fun of the gameplay. The designers are the one like, this is terrible, put it back, but fix it up. But I still die when I go off, when I don't go off the screen that way. And so what I want to do is say, just 1 extra little check in the alarm event here. And just to say, and this is a hack to get it done. We could fix it up if we ever wanted to. If the Y value is greater than room width minus sprite height, kill Panger. This should do it. And that's only in the alarm event. So he goes off, he goes down. Nope, he didn't die yet. Hold on, let me see here. Minus sprite height. Room width minus sprite height. Greater than or equal to. Let me just try that one. Nope. How about just -1? There's only a pixel. I don't know if GameMaker tinkered with the pixels of the Panger too much. Nope. -5 maybe. I'm just trying to kill the penguin. Nope. Room width minus sprite height. What would the value be? 15? Why? When it's hitting, it's not dying. But let me see. Instead of this, if the Y value is greater than, it's 720, so 714. Let's see what that does. I'm just hacking it at this point. There we go. That finally does it. It's just a matter of finding the value we're looking for. Or did I say room width? Maybe that's all it was I did. Let me go back and, oh, yeah, that'll do it. -1 for Brad. Let's try this one more time. The room height minus sprite height. And just say, okay, now. What? Okay. Room height. that is not working like I thought it would. There we go. There we go. And then make sure, yeah, everything is happy moving upwards. But once I move downwards, he explodes when he goes down. And then finally, whew, the offsets are killing me here. And so then the final thing here would be for me to go into the Panger, go into the draw GUI, and just add 10 to the Y values for everything, because I moved everything 20 down. And so, let's see. X value, Y value, X value, Y value. This should do it. And that recenters everything up top. Brings me back down here. And now the game is officially 100% complete. At least for what I wanted to get going for you guys. We have a frog that can go into his little home. I'm a frog. A penguin that goes into his little homes. He gets a game over end of level, which is great when you get all 5. He gets killed if he tries to invade someone else's home. He dies 100,000 different ways. Timer, lives, score. What else is there to life? Everything is good. So thanks for sticking with this with me today. As I show you, nothing's perfect in this world, and I am certainly not a perfect programmer, developer, anything. Much as people think I feel like I am not. I do not pretend to be. So if you have any questions, if I screwed something up, if you have anything that you would love to discuss with me, swardb@cod.edu is a great way of getting a hold of me, as is getting a hold of me through the YouTube comments down below. And we're moving forward. My next video, I'm thinking I'm going to do Pac-Man. And it's going to be cool because I have a really fun 18-minute video I can share from the internet. That's I'll have to look into the research of who made the video. But they show how the AI works in the actual real Pac-Man game. And we're going to recreate that in GameMaker. The game won't be perfect 100% exactly like the actual Pac-Man game, but the AI essentially will be when it reaches those decision points of what to do. And so again, thanks for sticking this game out with me. Let's see if I can win one time. Come on, guys. There we go. Level complete. And I start over. I'm happy as a clam here. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you next time.